Across continents and centuries, the cross has become one of the most recognizable symbols in the world. While it may seem simple, a vertical and horizontal beam intersecting it carries profound spiritual meaning. For Christians, the cross is much more than a geometric shape. It encapsulates the core of their faith. But why has this symbol, once used for a brutal and shameful form of execution, transformed into the most sacred emblem in Christianity? The answer lies in its deep historical roots, its central role in biblical teachings, and its enduring symbolism of both sacrifice and salvation. In this video, we will explore the origins of the cross and how it became essential in Christian theology. We'll dive into its biblical significance, its historical context, and how it is perceived in modern Christian life. We'll also unravel its duality as a representation of both death and resurrection, and how this paradox makes the cross a powerful beacon of hope, redemption, and spiritual renewal. By the end of this video, you'll have a clearer understanding of why the cross continues to resonate so deeply with believers worldwide, and how its timeless message offers a source of strength and inspiration for countless generations. Chapter 1. The cross as a historical symbol of death. Before it became a Christian symbol, the cross had a dark and terrifying presence in the ancient world. In the Roman Empire, crucifixion was considered one of the most humiliating and excruciating forms of capital punishment. Reserved for the worst criminals, rebels, slaves, and traitors, the cross stood for public disgrace and prolonged agony. Victims of crucifixion were often left hanging for days, exposed to the elements, as a form of spectacle and warning to others. For those in the first century, the cross was a symbol of shame, fear, and the ultimate punishment. However, the story of Jesus' crucifixion radically redefined this grim symbol. When Jesus was nailed to the cross, it was not as a guilty criminal, but as an innocent sacrifice. According to Christian belief, his crucifixion was foretold as part of God's divine plan to atone for humanity's sins. The Gospels recount Jesus' journey to Golgotha, the place of the skull, where he was crucified between two thieves. What was once a brutal instrument of death was transformed through this event into the symbol of ultimate love and redemption. By willingly accepting the cross, Jesus transformed the narrative, turning a tool of execution into a doorway for salvation. From that moment, the cross ceased to be merely a symbol of human cruelty. It became the ultimate paradox, where death leads to life and shame turns into glory. Chapter 2. The biblical significance of the cross. The cross holds a pivotal place in Christian scripture and is deeply rooted in the story of salvation. The Bible portrays the crucifixion of Jesus as a necessary act to bridge the divide between humanity and God. Through the cross, Christians believe that Jesus paid the ultimate price for human sin. In the Gospel of John, Jesus' final words on the cross are, "It is finished," signaling that his sacrificial mission had been accomplished. This moment carries profound theological weight. It was not just a man dying, but the Son of God offering himself as a ransom for all mankind. This act of ultimate sacrifice is known as the atonement, where Jesus took upon himself the sins of the world, allowing humanity to be reconciled with God. The New Testament consistently emphasizes the redemptive nature of the cross. In 1 Corinthians 1:18, Paul writes, "For the message of the cross is foolishness to those who are perishing, but to us who are being saved, it is the power of God." This highlights the contrast between how the world perceives the cross as a symbol of defeat and how Christians view it as a symbol of victory over sin and death. Moreover, the Epistle to the Hebrews presents Jesus as the perfect high priest who offered the final, all-sufficient sacrifice. The cross is central to this priestly role, making it not just a symbol of Christ's death, but the very heart of Christian worship and theology. The Gospels, epistles, and Revelation all point to the cross as the place where God's justice and mercy meet. Throughout the Bible, the cross represents more than just the physical suffering of Jesus. It embodies divine love, a self-giving love that knows no bounds. Chapter 3. The cross as a symbol of sacrifice and redemption. At the heart of the Christian faith is the belief that Jesus' sacrifice on the cross was not just an act of martyrdom, but the pivotal moment of redemption for all humanity. The cross is a reminder that salvation comes at a cost, and that cost was paid by Jesus. Through through his suffering and death. The cross also represents sacrificial love, a love so powerful that it willingly embraces death so that others might live. In John 15:13, Jesus says, "Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for one's friends." This verse perfectly encapsulates the Christian understanding of Jesus' death on the cross. It was an act of selfless love, made not just for his disciples but for all people throughout time. Christians are called to follow Jesus' example of sacrifice, and the cross becomes a symbol of that call. Matthew 16:24 records Jesus' words to his disciples. "If anyone would come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me." This verse challenges believers to embrace the cross in their own lives, not as a literal instrument of death, but as a metaphor for living a life of service, sacrifice, and commitment to God. The theme of redemption is also closely tied to the cross. The term redemption comes from the ancient practice of paying a ransom to free a slave. In the Christian faith, Jesus' death on the cross is seen as the ransom paid for the sins of humanity. The cross, then, is a symbol of freedom from sin, guilt, and the power of death. It stands as a testament to God's grace and mercy, and the belief that no matter how broken or sinful a person may be, through Jesus' sacrifice, they can be made whole. In art, music, and literature, the cross is often depicted as the ultimate act of love and sacrifice. From medieval paintings to modern hymns, artists and theologians have sought to express the depth of what the cross means in terms of personal salvation and the wider scope of God's plan for the world. Chapter 4. The Cross in Christian Worship and Daily Life. Over the centuries, the cross has become a central feature of Christian worship and daily life. From the earliest days of the church, believers have revered the cross as the place where Jesus conquered death, and through his victory, the cross became a sacred symbol of hope and renewal. In many Christian traditions, the cross is not only worn as jewelry, but is also a prominent fixture in churches. Whether it's a simple wooden cross or a grand ornate crucifix, the cross stands at the center of the Christian sanctuary. It often serves as the focal point during worship services, particularly in Holy Communion or Eucharist. During this sacred rite, the bread and wine symbolize Jesus' body and blood, which were given for the salvation of the world, making the cross the central symbol of this spiritual act of remembrance. For many Christians, making the sign of the cross is an essential part of their daily prayers. This gesture, performed by tracing the shape of the cross on one's body, is a physical reminder of Christ's sacrifice and serves as a way to invoke God's protection and blessing. The cross is also present in Christian homes, often displayed as a reminder of God's presence and the call to live a life of faith. In times of trial, many believers find comfort and strength by meditating on the cross. The image of Jesus on the cross provides assurance that no matter how difficult life becomes, they are not alone. Jesus has shared in their suffering and has overcome it through his resurrection. Even beyond the church walls, the cross remains an important symbol in Christian culture. Whether it's worn as a necklace, tattooed on the body, or displayed in art, the cross is a way for Christians to publicly express their faith. It acts as both a personal emblem of devotion and a sign to the world of the hope found in Jesus. If you're looking for a way to bring the powerful symbolism of the cross into your own life or home, be sure to visit the link in the description. There, you can find stunning Christianity-themed posters, including original artwork that captures the deep spiritual meaning of this sacred symbol. In Christianity, the cross is more than just a symbol. It's the heart of the faith. It reminds believers of the greatest act of love and the most profound mystery, that through the death of one, many might live. The cross stands at the intersection of history and eternity, of life and death, of judgment and grace. For Christians, the cross is a call to live a life that mirrors the sacrifice of Christ, a life of love, service, and selflessness. It is a symbol of both suffering and victory, a reminder that even in the darkest moments, there is hope because of what Jesus accomplished on the cross. Thank you for joining us on this journey to explore the meaning of the cross in Christianity. If you found this video insightful, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any future videos.